On July 17th, familiars will be added to Cernium and Burnium. And because of this, the meta changes a little bit when it comes to progression. And in this video, I'll be showing you every single thing that you need to know about familiars, how the entire system works, when you should try and get them, what are the good familiars, how long you should stay in Cernium and Burnium, and everything else. To start at the very beginning, let's talk about how familiars even drop and why you would even want to get them. So familiars drop just from mobbing. While you are mobbing, there's a good chance that familiars can drop. So I'm just going to kill a few mobs here, and you'll see the familiar card actually drop from the mobs. So you can see here, I've killed some of these guys and the familiar card has dropped here, these two gray ones. Familiars can only drop in common and rare, so gray and blue, and you're going to want to tier them up eventually to epic. And the familiars go into your use tab. You'll have a bunch of gray ones and you'll have a bunch of blue ones. The gray ones are common and the blue ones are rare. So you'll get a lot more gray ones than blue ones. Now, why do I even want familiars? You want familiars because they give you a pretty big buff, whether it's to your damage or to your drop rate. These things are affected by drop rate, so the more drop rate you have, the more familiars you'll get. So it's very, very important to maximize your drop gear when you're doing familiars. One of the best familiars that you can get is this increases item drop rate by large amount. So if I equip it and I turn it on, you'll see that in my drop tab, the familiar buff, it says plus 100%. So the large drop gives you 100% more drop rate, which is an insane amount. It's a huge amount. Now, there are different variations of this. There's just increases item drop rate, which is 50%. There's increases item drop rate by a small amount, which is like 30%. So getting drop rate fams are very, very important. And then the other type of fam that you can get are IED and boss damage fams. I don't have any boss fams, but I do have a few IED fams. And as you tier up the fams, the value of each line increases. So because these are common fams, it's only 15%. But if they were epic fams like these purple ones, it could potentially be 30% IED or 30% boss damage. So you can see that these familiars, if you had, 40% boss, 40% boss, 40% boss, 30%, 30%, 30%. Like, it's a pretty big increase in damage. And somebody who has a large drop fam will be getting way more drops per hour, whether it's fragments, nodes, familiars, or even pitch boss drops versus somebody who doesn't have large drop fam. The first thing that I want to go over is the familiar UI. So you want to put it on a keybind, this familiar button. Make sure you have it on a keybind. And if you don't have it unlocked at all, there will be a icon right below the reward points icons for you to unlock it. Now, when you first start doing familiars, you're only going to have one slot unlocked, and you have to unlock the second and third slot, but we'll get to that. So the overview tab just shows you what familiars you have equipped, how much gauge you have left, what your badge stats are, and what your familiars are giving you. This gauge at the bottom, this number 2000, honestly, to this day, I don't even know what this number even is. But basically, it tells you how long your familiars can be alive for. So another keybind that you need to have is summon familiars. You can get it through your beginner tab. And when you have your familiar out, there's this duration on the top right. And the duration is out of 2000. Every single time it hits reset, it goes back to 2000. And the 2000 basically lasts a little more than 2 hours from 100 to 0. Now, I don't know why it's 2000, but it is what it is. Now, if we move on to the setup tab, this is a very important tab. You'll see that this is where you can equip and unequip familiars. So this large drop one, I can, put on whichever fams I want, any combination of 3 because I have 3 slots unlocked, right? And then you just press save. And if you press save, then it just saves it to that preset. There are 5 presets that you can have. So typically what people do is they have one for bossing and they have one for training. And you could see what the familiar attributes are and the badge effects here as well. Collection is also a very important tab. Collection allows you to reveal familiars to see what buff they give you. And it also lets you unlock and lock familiars. So if you click on a familiar and you press the lock button, it could unlock it and it could lock it. And you always want to lock the ones that you want to keep because it is very easy to extract the familiars that you don't want. So extracting familiars, how it works is, let's say I open a familiar card. You'll see that this one, because it's not locked, I'm able to extract it and I get 15 points out of it because it's a rare card. But if it was a common card, I would only get 10 for it. So 10 plus 15 because of the other one, it would be 25. Now back to the info tab in the collection tab, you can reveal the familiar buffs by pressing the question mark and revealing it. So this one gave me jump +4, jump +1. And this one gave me magic attack +2 and defense +5. So pretty useless, right? But that's how you reveal the kind of like potential on the familiars. And then the fusion tab. This is how you fuse familiars together, which is what you need to do to upgrade familiars, which we'll talk about in a bit. But basically, you need to fuse familiars together to upgrade their tier. So since this is a blue one, which is rare, I would go on the fusion tab, press it, and you need to fuse the same type of familiar into it until you're able to level it up. Well, we'll get back to that in a little bit. Badges tab. So familiar badges are basically just a bunch of little bonus stats that you can get that make your character a little bit stronger. But this is how you actually unlock more familiar slots, is by collecting badges. You need 10 badges to have all 3 slots unlocked, and you only need 1 badge to have 2 slots unlocked. So there's the equip tab under the badges where you can equip the 8 badges max, and there's the list, which you can see all the different badges that you can collect. So in my opinion, I would not bother getting 10 familiar badges, meaning I would not bother unlocking your 3rd slot until you are level 255. And the reason why is because once you're at 255, you can get 10 badges really easily. These are the 10 badges that I have that I found to be really easy. Lamina, Lab, Esfera, Morass, Moonbridge. These are all Arcane River regions, and they're very, very easy to get the badges for. So if you want to unlock the badge, all you have to do is click on the one that you want, and you have to get 1 familiar of each mob in the region. So for example, these Morass ones, I went around to every single Morass map that has these monsters. I killed the monsters until they dropped the familiar, and I just used the familiar, and then that's it. They're registered in the badge. And once you get every single one, you unlock the badge. So half the badges can be gotten just from the Arcane River zones, which are really, really easy. And then the other half are in different places in Maple World. The only difficult one is this one, the Snowflake one. The rest of them are so easy. You can get them very, very quickly. Starter badge is literally just a snails and spore. You just go to the starting area. This one, the Snowflake badge, is a little bit different because I believe these Murus, there's a map that only has 3 mobs in it. So if you go to Rien and this map over here, you can see that there's only 3 of these guys. So getting the chance for the familiar to drop is pretty low. So this is the only one that takes a while. Alternatively, you can also get the lion badge, which honestly is very important because it gives attack %. You could see the stats on all the badges. The lion badge is very important. I should get it, to be honest with you, so you could get this instead of the Snowflake. But if you don't want to do this pre-quest or whatever, you're like really, really lazy, then the only best option after that is Snowflake. Now, you might ask, why not get all these other ones, like the wave badge, for example, or the snow badge? Now, the reason why you wouldn't necessarily want to get all of these, if you're really min-maxing, you should, is because a lot of these badges have field bosses. So for example, this Chimera is a field boss, or for this badge you have to kill Mushmom, which is a field boss. And these field bosses, they spawn every like 15 minutes, I believe, in each channel. So if you kill it, you'd have to CC. If it's not there, you'd have to wait 15 minutes. So it takes a really, really long time. But if you happen to have gotten a field boss, then by all means you can get the badge. But these are just the 10 that I got. And I just want to let you guys know that the Snowflake one is probably the only difficult one. All the other ones are very easy. Snowflake, Rebel Badge, Oppressor, and Mineral are very, very easy. They don't require any field bosses, and it's only just a few mobs. Here's the shop tab, the last tab. Honestly, the only thing that's really worth buying here is Familiar Essence. People call it gas because it looks like a gas can. And the Familiar Essence regens your summon gauge by 1000. While you are fam farming, you should definitely be buying these. Obviously, if you're training more than 2 hours a day. The pack coupon, I don't think it's really worth it. Or this Fox Mailer coupon, I don't think it's worth it. And then the preset coupon, definitely buy them if you're doing fams a lot, because you can level up your fams a lot faster. Another thing in the collection tab is you can actually rename familiars. So for me, I renamed this one Drop. All you have to do is press this pencil icon. You can rename it whatever you want. That way, when you have a bunch of fams, you could just search. I always name the Drop one Drop, and I always name the Heal fams Heal, so I know what they are. And I named the ID ones ID, and if I had Boss, I would name them Boss. Now that we know everything about the UI and how it works, let's talk about how you level up fams, because this is the most important thing. So to level up a familiar, you need to do two things. You need to get the familiar to level 5. You can see this one is at level 5 and this one is at level 1. If you want to increase a familiar's level, you have to equip the familiar, and while the familiar is out, as you are training, it'll gain experience and level up. So because I have this familiar equipped, let's go hit some monsters and we'll see that it levels up. Make sure that you are training within 20 levels of your own level. So since I'm level 285, I can't train in Cernium or Burnia because the mobs are below 20 levels from me. So I'm just going to go to Shangri-La, for example, where mobs are level 279, which is obviously within 20 levels of me. So if I kill a few monsters, you'll see that under the level 1, it turned green a little bit, which means that it got some XP because my familiar is out and I'm training. See, it got even more XP. And you just keep doing this until it's level 5. Eventually, as you keep training with your familiar out, it'll be level 5, so make sure you check it. Now, once your familiar is level 5, the next step is to fuse in the fusion tab the same type of familiar into it until it has its gauge over here filled out. So since this is a rare fam, I only need to fuse 100 points worth of familiars into it. Each common fam is 1 and each rare fam is 2. So I'm just gonna open a bunch of familiars. You see I have a lot in here, and in the fusion tab I'm going to press on it, select all. So now they're all going to go in here and press fuse. So now that it's 57 out of 100, that means I would need 43 more. So I put the remaining 43 and you'll see this rank up button start to light up. Because it's level 5 and I fused 100 fams into it, I could press rank up. Now this rank up does have a chance of failing. It doesn't always rank up, and if it fails, the gauge goes back to half, so it would go back to 50. So let's try and rank it up. Boom. So now it's an epic familiar, and you'll notice that the potential has reset, which means that I have to go back to the info tab, press it, and reveal its potential all over again. So I got magic +5, increases meso drop, which is useless, obviously. Now, let's say I want to rank it up again, because you should rank it up again. You should do unique fams. Unique is the highest tier for heroic worlds. I would have to do the exact same process. I would have to get it to level 5 again and fuse 150 familiars into it this time. Going from epic to unique requires more familiars to tier it up, but the leveling up, the 1 to 5, is the exact same amount of time. Now, keep in mind that tiering up from epic to unique is a much lower chance than rare to epic. Like, I promise you, a lot of you guys, while you're doing your familiars, you will fail the tier up going from epic to unique, and it's gonna piss you off. It has happened to me so many times where I upgrade from epic to unique and get just nothing, or it even just fails and you just have to feed it more and more and more fams until it tiers up. But that's how you get to unique fams, and unique fams have the highest value of fams. You can get 40 boss, 40 IED, you could get hybrid lines, boss on the top line and IED on the second line, or maybe 2 lines of boss. You could get attack %, you could get large drop, you could get large healing. Healing fams are very, very useful in certain bosses like Vihila and Will, because they bypass the healing restriction. They will always heal you no matter what. So I would highly recommend just doing unique fams straight up throughout everything that you're trying to do. Now you might ask, how long does it take to get good fams? Like, how long should I be farming fams? How long does it take to get boss fams? All that stuff. A very long time. It takes a very long time. I'm talking about hundreds of unique familiars open just to get some boss fams. It will take a long time. It's not something that's quick. It's not something that's easy, but it's something that you should be doing as you're training. As you're training, especially with Cernium and Burnium dropping familiar cards now. Right now, as I'm filming this video, they don't drop any familiar cards. You'll be getting a lot of familiar cards as you are training through these levels. So I would highly recommend doing the familiars as you're leveling up, and you'll probably hit something by the time you're 275 or something like that. Another thing about some fams that you should know is that boss damage caps out at 120%. So if you are super, super lucky and you hit like more than 120% boss, it doesn't matter. It caps out 120%. Another thing is that drop fams do not stack. So let's say I have this large drop fam and I have 2 small drop fams. They don't get all added up. It only takes from the highest power drop fam. So only the large drop would be in effect. Heal fams do stack though. Heal fams do stack. So if you're going a full heal build, just run 3 heal fams and go prog the boss that you're learning, and the heal fams do stack. So that's really good. Now, one big question that people are probably going to ask is, how long should I stay in Cernium and Burnium for doing my fams. And another question that people are going to ask is, should I go back to finish my fams if I'm already like 280 plus? So for the people that are fresh 260 and you want to know how long should I stay in these areas, my recommendation honestly is it's not even that bad to hit 275 in Burnium if you really want to get some fams. Hypothetically, if you're level 260, you made your drop gear, or you're mid 260s, you made your drop gear, and you want to stay in Cernium and Burnium and do your fams, I think it's perfectly fine to hit level 275 in these areas. You don't really lose too much XP. You can still make pretty decent rates in Burnium all the way till 275, and going just from 260 to 275, you will get a lot of familiar cards throughout that time, and you'll probably have hit something by then. Let's say you hit absolutely nothing in that time period, then it's up to you. If you really want to keep pushing for fams, then by all means do it. But I would say once you hit Arteria and you're level 280, I do not think it's worth going back for fams. I think if you're already 280 or you're between 280 to 285, you should just go all the way and finish your level 285, and then either you have two options. You either just don't care about fams at all and you keep waiting until familiars get added into further and further regions, eventually into Carcian, because they did say that they would add familiars into further regions. You can either do that and wait, or you make a second character to farm familiars. That's what I'm doing personally. Since my main is already 285, I'm too high level to go back to Cernium and Burnium to do fams efficiently. So I made a second character, my Night Lord, that already has 200% drop gear on it. That's going to farm me familiars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be farming on my Night Lord, maybe for like 2 weeks, stack up a bunch of cards, transfer them to my Hayato, and run the entire process on it until I hit. And after that, then we're good to go. Another question that people might ask is, when should I stop? Let's say you have 3 boss fams. When do I stop? Should I go all the way to the 120%? Should I not? Honestly, for most people, I don't think going for 120% is worth it. I think getting at least 90% boss damage is worth it, because that means you don't have any 20% boss damage lines. On a unique familiar, you can get 20% boss damage, which is pretty low, but you can also get 40% boss damage. I would recommend to try and get at least 3 fams over 30%. So let's say you have 40, 40, and 20, which is 100. That's really good, right? 100% boss damage. I would still try and replace that 20% boss damage fam for a higher one down the line. But that's pretty min-max stuff. Most people who are probably watching a video like this, that's like a non-issue for them. In reality, getting any amount of boss or IED fams is always going to be really good and will help your progression a lot. Now, I want to make it clear though that although boss familiars are really good, you don't necessarily need them until you are reaching the C Kalos plus level in this game. I've done everything in this game with no boss familiars, right? So far, I've cleared H Lomian, H Lucid, H Will, C Tenny, Black Mage, H Saren, N Kalos, N Kaling. All of this, no boss fams, not even a liberated weapon, right? But once you start doing Chaos Kalos or H Kaling, like way into the future, then you need as much damage as possible, and the familiars are pretty important. So even if you don't hit any boss fams, you can still get really deep into this game and clear so many things in the entire game. I just want to make that clear, because I know a lot of you guys might think like, I don't have boss fams, there's no point, right? Like, I'm just perm gapped. Like, I'm just letting you know, like, you can clear so much in the game without them. With that all being said though, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I tried to cover as many things and as many common questions as I could about familiars. And if this video helped you out, maybe consider helping me out by sharing the video, maybe watching some of my other videos. I have a lot of other guides on my channel, or even just subscribing. And if you want to see me do my familiars live on my stream, I stream almost every single day my progression, where you can also talk to me directly. And with that all being said, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much to my beautiful members, Blazefire, Shooms, Uju, Shagad, Ravi Espa, Grim4K, Koga, Pabo, Picolnir, Jesse, Dante Victory, Zats, and CK. I appreciate you guys so much.